Warning, we're going to be discussing events for currently running weekly anime.
If you want to avoid spoilers for certain shows, there are timestamps in the description.
Welcome back to the Timesink Anime Podcast. We are talking about the wind down of spring 2019 leading up to the end of the season. I am Rex.
And I'm Jay. How's it going, everybody? Good to be back.
Yeah.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a few weeks.
And we were going to record it a little bit earlier in the week, but schedules got...
Fuck off, I'm a busy adult and I have things to do. But
yeah.
Other things got in the way. But this season, as we're nearing the end of it, I'm more and more thinking that's just kind of a weak season. It's like a weak season.
I wouldn't say weak. I definitely would agree with underwhelming, though. There isn't, because it was
light,
kind of...
I guess.
Yeah, light. Because last season, it was kind of hard to top off. Winter 2019 was really good. And then you also had Price of Smiles, but that's neither here nor there.
Winter 19 was so much good stuff. Had Kaguya.
They started off with a bang.
Yeah, Kaguya, Boogie Pop.
Promise Neverland, which was my favorite show. And that's when Shield Hero began, and we'll be getting into Shield Hero as the episode progresses here. But last season was just so damn good.
Yeah, and as we get further on in the season, like I just said, there's less and less stuff that I'm interested in seeing all the way to the end.
Yeah.
I have a confession.
Okay, let's hear it.
Fairygon. I started off really liking Fairygon.
Mm-hmm.
And as it's gone on, I've just gotten to the point where I'm like, what happened? I'm feel like I'm falling asleep halfway through the episodes. I know you're still watching it.
Yeah, I'm still watching Fairygon. I'm probably one of the few people that is.
Yeah. And then One Punch Man is another one that I started off with this mindset of I don't want to compare it to the first season. I want it to stand on its own. But for me, it's just I don't know if it's boring so much as the animation's not very impressive. Even if you don't compare it to the first season. And also, it doesn't have a lot of that, comedic flair,
that is something that is also something that I kind of agree with. And this is coming from somebody who has continued to watch it and is too stubborn to just drop it, so...
I'm going to read it, is that, if I'll give this season anything, is that it's made me want to read the manga.
That's a very fair assessment. I'm personally enjoying this season overall, but it is very light in comparison. There are some very, because they started off with some really strong contenders for Anime of the Year, Promise Neverland, anyway. So it's going to be very difficult to try and top it since we started off so strongly. And that's just my overall impression of this season as well.
So we got a little bit of news. We've been talking about the show and stuff, and next season we're going to be going back to our weekly podcast release schedule.
Yes, but there's a caveat here.
Yeah, we're probably only going to be talking about 6 shows.
Yeah, and we'll be ironing out more of that format, how we're going to be progressing with that. Personally, I don't know about you, I'd personally only like to talk about maybe 2 shows that are carrying over from season to season, kind of limiting what shows are
giving new shows an opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. That's the main thing. And then maybe 1 or 2 shows that actually are from previous seasons. So far, I can think of 2 that would be worthy contenders to actually carry over into summer 2019. And that'd be Fruits Basket and Demon Slayer, because both of those shows are incredibly strong this season. Yeah. But we'll figure out more about how we're going to do this as the weeks go by and as we're winding down spring 2019. So with that out of the way, take us away with our first show.
So first off, we're talking about Attack on Titan, which is pretty much been the Beast Titan assault arc, or taking back
Shingun Shina.
Shingun Shina.
All I have to say is I am not okay. I am not okay in the slightest after seeing this. And how appropriate, because I'm actually wearing an MCR t-shirt. But anyway, the biggest problem is just this series. It's been dealing a lot of the emotional meat grinder stuff at this at like this particular part of the season. Like, and it has just been like a relentless assault of one after the other after the other. It's just every week it's been getting like worse for our characters, I think.
Yeah, I very much love Erwin.
Oh my god.
Because just that whole speech that he gave to all the cadets when he's like, yeah, give up on all your dreams and go out there and die.
Oh yeah, that was actually incredibly hard to watch. That was actually something that stuck with me the most, like because Erwin was beginning to doubt himself, and Erwin was basically saying, "Is it all worth it? Will this actually make a difference?" And it was Levi of all people who had to talk him back up, basically tell him, yeah.
I don't know if it talk him back up, but it's probably more just talk him down,
or
because he's
at least what I mean more is give him the ability to actually proceed, because Erwin was like kind of stuck. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know what the right thing to do in that situation was. And he'd been spending all this time, all this energy, everything he'd done trying to figure out the truth of the world. And at the end, he's faced with this. I'm going to have to give this up, aren't I?
Mm-hmm. The one thing he's been so like greedily going after.
Yeah.
And Levi, he basically just told him, like, yeah, give up.
Basically, it's like, give up on your dreams and die. Tell the troops to go to march into hell. I'll be the one to kill the Beast Titan. In that moment, what it felt like Levi was trying to say is, you go on and die. I'll be the one to see this through to the end. I'll be the one to, like, basically see
the basement.
Not just see the basement, but just see, like, everything to the end. Like, I'll, like, bear the guilt of this. You'll be dead, so you won't have to. I'll bear the guilt of these sins going forward. Because that's pretty much what Levi's been doing up to this point, taking on Erwin's mess, pretty much.
Yeah, because I think that Levi kind of sees Erwin as somewhat of a father figure.
A father figure.
A friend.
Yeah. Like, this is, like... And that was actually an incredibly, like... For a character who's usually so stoic, that was actually a quite a nice bit of vulnerability. Like, him... And it kind of culminated when the Beast Titan, when he actually, like, went to go fight the Beast Titan. For one thing, holy shit was that sequence super
that
well
animation
animated.
scene was just so amazing.
It was so pretty. Like, I mean, the dynamic camera work and stuff has been Studio Wit's calling card, so that's not at all surprising. But that whole sequence, it was great to look at, but it was incredibly frustrating because... Fucking A, Levi, you had one job. You had one job, and you couldn't follow through with it. Yeah. Christ.
It's because he wanted to save Erwin.
No, I get the reasoning. I get the reasoning behind it. It doesn't make it any less frustrating.
Yeah.
Like, because, like...
He has his sword in the guy's mouth.
Like, and I get it from a writing standpoint. I get it from a character standpoint. Like, that's all investing. Like, it wasn't enough to take me out of it. It's still... incredibly frustrating because yes, you could end this, like, or at least get close or deal him a severe blow, and at the most pivotal moment he hesitates. That's incredibly frustrating, and I don't know if he'll be able to forgive himself for that for a long time. Like, I haven't read any of the manga. I'm going in completely blind.
I'm sitting here like playing not mental gymnastics, like math in my head, thinking of like, oh, okay, which part is the manga and which part is the show, because I recently just read all the way up to the latest chapter.
Funny story, you actually had watched a good portion of, like, you had stopped reading the manga right about the point the anime is at now, right?
Yeah, so I thought I read more, but apparently I read up to the point where the things happened. So
yeah,
but it's good. I'm not gonna say anything else because that could lead into some kind of spoilers, but it continues to be real good.
Yeah, the other big moment is Armin going out in a blaze of glory. Cue Bon Jovi, everyone, I guess. Just, oh my god, that sequence was fucking painful to watch.
You don't really see... In the manga, it looks like he's just kind of burning away.
Yeah.
But in the anime, they just like showed his flesh like melting off and just like dripping away.
And then evaporating.
Yeah.
Just Oh my god.
You really didn't get a feel about how hot the steam was until that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Because before, people just get blown away, or they're like, my throat kind of hurts because I inhaled it. So it's like, it kind of seems like it's like a little hot, but not enough to just actually melt a person's skin off.
Yeah, that whole sequence was just, oh my god. And then, of course, Armin figuring out, the hooks won't catch into his skin, so let's go for his teeth instead. For one, really capitalizing on Armin's brilliance and awesome strategic mind at play, just figuring that out. But then just watching him burn away. Like, Attack on Titan has never been shy about killing its characters, but that moment was such a big deal when I saw it. Like I said before, I didn't feel okay.
Yeah, it's because
we'd been lured into a false sense of security for a while that at least the main trio would make it out alive. So so seeing the character at that moment be fucking dead, like
just sitting there.
Yeah,
on the roof.
It was a lot to take in. I was like, I'm not gonna be okay for a little while.
Yeah, it was very shocking to me when I read it.
Yeah.
So watching it the second time, it was just like, hey, it's barbecue Armin.
I like my Armin well done.
Finally got to that part. Yeah.
Oh god, this Attack on Titan, it's really delivering on its more emotional kind of emotional drama, like really what a war drama I think is supposed to be going into, because at the end of the day, that's what this is. It's a war drama.
It's like halfway through, right?
Yeah, we're about halfway through now, and a little over halfway through now, actually, with the most recent episode coming out. But we'll be talking about that towards the end of this season. Next up, Bungo Stray Dogs.
There's a lot of shit happening right now.
Yeah, a
like
lot.
Bakano levels of this character, this character, this character.
Yeah, you first kind of addressing a problem with one episode. The whole Atsushi's abusive father figure just dying out of the blue.
Oh yeah, I thought that was very ham-fisted.
Yeah, you think so?
I like the ramifications of the aftermath. Like, I like how Atsushi had to deal with it and kind of come to terms with himself.
Yeah, and realize that I think the character, like the conflict of him kind of being torn between being happy that he was dead and then also be at the same time being sad. Like, there was a lot of really good like character moments and character growth for Atsushi.
Yeah,
like, I thought that was all handled incredibly well.
Agreed, yeah, but it's just the fact that this guy that we've only seen in flashbacks came out of nowhere and got hit by a truck, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it's like, why?
I guess it was handled a little bit clumsily. I guess you could kind of contribute it to it being like like just somebody you don't really see death coming more often than not. So I guess you could kind of play into that, and that kind of makes it a little bit more jarring and shocking.
But the show's not about that. Like, the show's not about real stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's a fantasy, like, bombastic, or
so
not fantasy.
So you think that it kind of didn't really match the tone of the rest of the series?
Yeah, like if this were to happen like in like a Boogie Pop or like Cowboy Bebop, something with,
or
like
even Attack on Titan, what they did with Marco before they revealed what actually happened to Marco. Yeah,
a lot more of a somber, slower tone.
Well, to be fair, and yeah, they have actually had like characters die, like even in season 2 with the whole like kids blowing up in a van thing.
Yeah,
like. But even then,
that played into the next scene.
Yeah,
and it felt like it was leading up to something, or something was leading up to it.
Yeah,
this whole I just don't like how he died. I feel like if they brought him in another way, or even had him die later or something, it would have been more interesting.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of okay with it. It didn't really bother me because once again, sometimes death just happens, and you're never really around to see it, and so that kind of does make it, I guess, a little bit more jarring. So maybe that was what they were going for. I don't have any major problems with it, but I can certainly understand why people were not thrilled with it. And the last line, though, with Dazai saying, well, usually when somebody's dad dies, they cry, and then you actually seeing just like slowly, like tears start to well up in Atsushi's eyes and then slowly streaming down his face. Really good animation work by Bones. it's Bones, so what do you expect? But the next, I was not expecting them to bring back a character in the most awesome way possible, but god damn did they fucking succeed with Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Holy shit, Fitzgerald's return was fucking glorious. Like,
yeah, he's such a charismatic piece of crap.
I agree. I adore him though. Like he's such a fantastic character, and just seeing like how he goes from rags to riches in the span of an episode, but it all feels organic and within the realm of possibility for someone like him. And just
well, it's probably, I'd say, like 30% him and then like 70% what's her name? Louisa, yeah. Louisa?
Oh, yeah.
She does so much work.
And
I love her ability, too.
Just the ability to slow down time.
Yeah, because they thought, like, oh, she's just this master strategist, which she is, but it's not her ability that makes her a strategist. It's just her brain power, and it just slows time to, like, 1/80th or something like that.
Something like that. Some absurd amount, but basically she is able to slow it down and kind of calculate it all together.
Yeah, just spend as much time as she wants planning something out.
Exactly, and but the caveat being she has to be in a room by herself. The relationship between Fitzgerald and Louisa's kind of messed up.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. She's very attached to him for bad reasons.
Yeah, in an incredibly codependent relationship.
I really I want to like Fitzgerald. Like, I want to like him as a person, and I hope he has some good character development here, because we saw that out of Edgelord McStabby Ghost.
Oh, Akutagawa?
Yeah.
Edgelord McStabby Ghost?
Yeah, we saw that out of him in the second season.
Yeah.
Where he actually got some, character growth and character development, so he wasn't just like this mindless asshole that murdered everybody.
Yeah, I think that is one thing I will say about Bungo, like, that has been doing really good. It's been building up on their characters. Like, it's been like it hasn't killed many of their characters off, and more often than not, it's actually preserved a lot of them, so they keep coming back, and some people might say that's kind of a lazy way to sort of recycle characters or whatever, but on the other hand, you actually get some pretty cool stories of, like, characters growing, learning, and stuff like that. We saw that with Akutagawa. I think we're seeing that with Fitzgerald, because
maybe.
I think we are a little bit, because I think he's learned a little bit of humility from his defeat at the hand of the armed detective agency and the Port Mafia. Like, I think that kind of shows, like, because he sees people as valuable in a degree. Like, obviously they're commodities to an extent, but he at least sees that they can benefit him in a not so selfish way. Like, just like, oh, they're unimportant, they just get me what I want. But now it's like they actually have value as people. Like, he's actually starting to see them more as his valued employees rather than just pawns and pieces that he can move around the table, I think.
Are you just inferring that based on how he's interacting with Louisa?
What he's actually said with the new guy whose life he saved, that whole sequence where he was basically just trying to figure out, like, okay, I'm basically gonna do a murder mystery thing. I don't know who solved the murder. You might not be able to know who can solve the murder. You can figure it out though, and I can play with that.
Oh, yeah, you can figure out someone who can.
Exactly. I love, like, the dynamic that Louisa and Fitzgerald have, at least, because she is the strategist, he's the face. He's the one that can put all these plans into motion, because he's so goddamn convincing.
I would say it was really satisfying seeing him expose that, I think it was like a chairman of a company.
He just bursts into the courtroom.
Yeah.
It's like, I recorded this. These tape recorders, by the way, were 3 for 1.
I love his sudden awareness of money.
Yeah.
Of buying things.
Yeah, and, like, actually realizing how, like, satisfying it can be to, like, buy things that are somewhat affordable. It's like, because normally I just buy the entire store if I wanted something. Yeah, the entire bit with Fitzgerald, it was absolutely great. I was not expecting him to make a return. Holy crap, am I glad that
he's probably going to be helping, I assume, eventually, because in the most recent episode, there's just everything's shit. Everything sucks.
Yeah.
It's like the the leader of the Port Mafia and the
Leader
Armed
of-
Detective Agency are out of commission.
And they've basically been stabbed with alien parasites.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm just waiting for like a chest burster.
yeah, I was thinking that too. Like, I'm hoping for a chest burster. That's probably not going to happen. That's pretty much what they...
Yeah.
And just the kind of conundrum of, well, in order to save one, you have to kill the other, pretty much. And then, of course, the two agencies getting ready to duke it out.
In the middle of a hospital.
Yeah, I want to say when Chuya first appeared and just like him stepping on it and just like putting like the full force of his gravity, just making this like the ceiling just sort of collapse beneath his feet. I thought that was a super cool.
That's
like
so unnecessary.
it is, but it is such a cool thing. It's just like, okay, he's fucking serious.
That's a really good intimidation tactic.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I can walk normally. I don't have to make my footsteps heavier.
But I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Just and then everybody just like kind of staring each other down in the hallway, getting ready to fight. I will say, as I said earlier, it's always interesting when this series brings back characters you weren't expecting them to, because they brought back the Scarlet Letter Power, the priest from season 2. Actually, I had forgotten about him, but when they brought him back, I'm like, oh, that's right.
So the villain so far, antagonist.
Yeah.
I'm thinking he has some kind of brainwashing ability.
Mm-hmm.
But also he could just break their brain.
Yeah. Something of that nature.
Because when he killed the redhead kid from his flashback.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he put his hand up to the kid's face,
And
and I'm
then
assuming he can
blam.
probably just somehow alter their mind. 'Cause
Yeah.
he made the priest.
He made Akutagawa forget who he was. Like, no, he made the priest forget who Akutagawa was, is
Yeah.
what I meant to say.
Mhm.
Like, just, who
'Cause
are
it's
you?
Focused on one mindless task. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
exactly.
So it's probably limited in terms of his mind control.
I think
Or
so.
mind suggestion or whatever.
But this also revealed a really crazy thing about him and Dazai, how they're pretty much just two halves of the same coin. Like, because they both think, like, almost exactly alike. And, like, because Dazai, like, followed him and, like, found him in an alleyway. They got shot by a sniper. Dazai knew about the sniper and called his bluff.
Mm-hmm.
And basically I'm trying to remember what exactly the difference between Dazai's frame of thinking and this villain's frame of thinking. Isn't it pretty much that that the gifted have the ability, like, they just make things interesting, pretty much?
I don't remember exactly that part, really.
I just remember that, yeah, there was, like, a critical difference between the two of them. I can't really remember what exactly it was, though.
You got to see the book. The Stray Dogs book, I think it was called.
We finally know what it is and what it's capable of doing, more or less.
It's
like,
an everything note.
It's basically just the ability to rewrite reality.
Yeah, I'm assuming, based off of just what we learned, that it's able to just make stuff. I have a feeling that's the origin of Gifted, probably.
Yeah.
Someone was just like, I want people to have special powers. Closed book.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. I hope we find out more about it as the season progresses, or even as the series progresses, because this has been an enjoyable watch. Bungo.
Random little aside, I didn't expect the little girl that was following around
Mori
to have powers.
Oh man, I kind of knew it was going to happen eventually, but I wasn't.
All of a sudden, telekinesis.
Yeah, that was just. Oh yeah, we're fine. We just got out of an exploding car. By the way, I thought that was really cool. I'm adoring this series. And we're finally going to be able to see, like, Ronpo doing something that isn't doing just a...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Strategizing a siege.
Yeah. Oh, my God. That is going to be so cool, because Ronpo is one of my favorite characters. In fact, I'm pretty sure he's just my favorite character, like, in this series. So it's going to be interesting seeing, like, how he's going to be their strategist.
So up next we're talking about Demon Slayer.
This series just makes me so freaking hype anytime I watch it.
It's Ufotable making gorgeous stuff.
Yeah, as they do. Like, the most recent fight, for instance, against the Ball and Arrow Demon, that was so cool. Like, they composited the CG model. Like, you could tell it was a CG model.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
but it was done really well.
But it looked so damn good, you didn't care.
Yeah, whenever they use CG, just looks so good. Like the mountain scene
Oh yeah.
when he was avoiding all the traps and stuff.
Oh my god, it was so pretty.
I mean, Ufotable does all the time when they like do the camera spins or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, this fight was really cool. I couldn't help but think of Soul Eater
Yeah.
with
Medusa?
yeah, just
Yeah.
arrows.
That's a good point. I never finished Soul Eater, reading it or watching it. I probably should go back and finish reading it at least, because I've heard good things. I've heard weird things, but that's how Soul Eater do.
It's
so
just a very similar power. Although I really liked how they comboed it.
oh yeah,
It's just one person can throw the ball and the other person makes them go.
in whatever direction they
Yeah.
want. That was such a crazy thing to see. Like I could kind of see what was going on like before the character could. But at the same time, just given his limited understanding of like how demons' powers works and stuff, it didn't really feel too out of place. And then when the demon boy, I forgot what his name is, got his head blown off, but then regenerated, and it's like, look at the arrows, you idiot!
It was really weird watching him regenerate because we've seen it before, but we never saw it like that slow and in that detail. It was just like ugh.
Yeah, you just see like the slow
The nerves.
Yeah.
Actually generating. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really that was kind of unnerving to watch, but still incredibly satisfying.
I like that they aren't afraid to tell jokes
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of really intense situations.
Yeah.
He's like, we should just leave him behind. And she's like, what? I was just joking.
I'm
He's
pretty
just so bad at telling jokes.
Yeah, and then he just puts like a seal on his forehead and basically says, "Okay, now you can see the arrows. Now you have to."
Which, demon magic.
Yeah, exactly. Which, whatever. That's how we do. I will say that in that fight, I didn't like how they looped the exact same like third form.
The flowing
Yeah.
sword or whatever.
Yeah, they did that
Yeah.
3 times this episode. I'm like, okay, it was impressive the first time, not so much the second time, and it was kind of made me go, ugh, really?
It looked like a case of we're almost to the point of we having 22 minutes, but we need a little bit more.
Yeah, padding.
Yeah.
But the way that he combined like his fighting style and altered them on the fly, that felt incredibly
He's
satisfying.
such a
to
smart
watch.
boy.
Yeah, he is a smart boy, and I wouldn't say that it's just necessarily smart. He spent years like training these moves and these skills and stuff. So learning how to like sort of change them up, that would take a lot of discipline and kind of like would take a lot of discipline to be able to do. But of course, like learn how to apply the forms in new and exciting ways. That was incredibly well handled. Muzan Kibitsuji. Oh my
Sucks.
god, he's terrifying.
Yeah.
He's just downright terrifying. I think it's horrifying how he's just capable of switching from like ridiculously calm and composed to I'm gonna kill every motherfucker in this alley just because somebody insulted my my skin color.
So this is a 2-core show, right?
Yes, it'll be continuing next core.
And we've already met the main antagonist.
Yes.
At least for now, it seems like.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that this core is probably going to end with fighting him.
Maybe.
I don't see how it could otherwise because he's in that city unless they leave and then come back later.
Like possibly. I don't really know. Like I don't imagine they'll be able to get their hands on him like so easily.
Either that or he might leave.
Yeah. And I think his entire like motivation is very interesting for a character like him because he kind of gives me Naraku vibes, just like in his yeah, you know what I mean. But he doesn't. But he also is kind of like a combination of Naraku and Yoshikage Kira from JoJo Part 4, because it seems more or less he wants to live a somewhat normal life with his family, but also has whatever like horrifying obsession he has on the side.
I don't know. I think he's just using the family.
You think so?
As a cover to blend into society. That's just an assumption because we don't know.
There's so much we don't know about him.
But that's just the feeling I'm getting off of this situation.
Yeah, I don't know. He's a mystery at this point, and I think it's kind of fun just theorizing about what kind of person he is. The fact that he can make people turn into the ending of Akira and make them just blow the fuck up, like by injecting enough blood into them.
Oh god, yeah, that was hard to watch.
It kind of reminds me of that scene from, I want to say either Railgun or Index, where Accelerator just says, "I'm going to make your blood flow in reverse."
That was probably...
It might have been. I'm pretty sure it might have been Railgun. But
Railgun, yeah,
basically,
I've never seen Railgun, yeah.
but basically, what happened is Accelerator looks at one of the Misaka clones and it's like, I wonder what'll happen if I make your blood flow in reverse. And he does that, and she explodes. she just explodes.
Surprise! Blood's not meant to go backwards.
Yeah, and they will just explode everywhere. So, who'd have thunk, huh? I am just enjoying this series. I'm kind of interested in seeing where Nezuko is going to develop as a character.
Yeah, I really like what they're doing with Nezuko. It's so refreshing seeing a sister feminine character that's the main character's not like, I have to protect you at all the times. Like, even in this most recent fight, he still trusts her, just like, yeah, go after that guy, I'll go after this one. So it's more of like a partnership.
Yeah, it's a really satisfying
also,
thing to
there's a fucking subreddit called Background Nezuko, and it's just all the shots of her just like standing goofy in the background, or just like in the most recent episode, how she like worm crawled onto the screen. It's so fucking good. I love it so much.
Oh my god, that's great.
She's so adorable when she's not in murder mode.
I think it's kind of fascinating too, like how much emotion they're able to convey with a silent character. Like just like all the visual storytelling they can do with her, just like her remembering like different people from her home village, stuff like that. I think that's all very clever, and I'm incredibly excited to see like what they do with her. If they ever, because the goal seems to be turn her back into a human, and the only way to do that is to find blood with people who share a close tie with Kibutsuji.
Which I want to say, very good narrative decision to like. We started off immediately with a goal, so like there's always something to move forwards to, as long as she's still a demon.
Yeah,
like you'll never really be stuck in the story.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, another really cool narrative decision. Thank you for whoever wrote this for including more than one good demon. Like, it's actually incredibly satisfying seeing like a pair of demons who are actually good people, more or less. Like the doctor having altered her body to the point where she doesn't need to eat human flesh, only needs to consume a little bit of blood from people now. Yeah,
there's probably going to be more of those going on, because like in this world I feel like there's probably a bit of just good humans or good demons around, but they have to be very secretive because
they're demons.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody hates demons.
Yeah, they're terrifying, like rightfully so. They're absolutely terrifying. So on to the next show involving demons, Dororo. The past few episodes have not at all disappointed.
Yeah, like this show has definitely kicked back into really, really good.
Yeah. Ever since the travesty that was episode 15, I want to say. Yeah.
It's like episode 15 and to a lesser degree 16. Yeah.
But yeah, they basically, these past few episodes have been really good. Like just sort of the tragedy of Shark Boy. I can never really remember his name.
Same?
No.
Sabu?
No, it's not Saburota. That's a different character.
Oh, yeah.
That's a different character, and one I'd say is even more tragic, actually.
Mako Tsunami.
Yeah, Mako Tsunami. But yeah, how...
It's a dumb name. Yu-Gi-Oh! Had so many dumb names.
It really did.
Or, I mean, I don't know about the Japanese version, but the localized one that all of us saw as a kid.
Yeah. Mako Tsunami.
T. Gardner.
God.
What was Joey's?
It was Joey Wheeler.
Yeah, but was that like because he's a Brooklyn motorcycle?
I don't know.
Anyway, back to not Mako Tsunami.
Anyway,
yeah, that whole
like the reunion, reunion between Dororo and Hyakimaru was
the head rub.
Oh my god!
He just goes there and he's like, I missed you so much.
Yeah, that was such a sweet moment, and then she just hugging him, like it's like you took too long, you idiot. It was about the greeting you'd expect, and it was super rewarding after they kind of had to part their separate ways for that brief time on account of Dororo getting kidnapped by Itachi.
Yeah, surprise, he's an asshole.
Yeah, but at the same time, has some degree of honor. Like, I thought that he was looking, as I said before, I liked how he was looking out for, like, the lives of his men. Like...
Yeah, he's a bad person, but he's not like a comically bad person.
Exactly. He has like some justifications for what he's done. And even in the end, like, despite the fact that, yeah, he still died a greedy bastard, which was good. Like, I had no problems with that. I wouldn't say he redeemed himself, but he did, for one, like, split second, did something that didn't benefit himself. And I thought that was a a nice way for him to go out in the end. Like, him realizing, oh, this kid's in trouble. Like, I grew up with this kid. I'm going to protect her. Like, even if I'm going to die in the process, at least for a brief moment, he kind of died in a fitting way.
Even though previously he just tied Dororo up to a tree to get eaten by a shark.
Whatever. I think, though, that then we had a good filler episode.
Yeah, I was watching this and I was like thinking, is this filler? Like, is this not in the source material? It's a manga, right?
It was a manga originally from but you have to remember this.
Oh, I guess the source material will be considered the old cartoon.
Yeah, and it was also the original manga was from the 60s, so they've changed some stuff dramatically. But I wouldn't qualify this. Some people have said, I personally associate it as a filler because that's kind of what it is. But filler usually does have some negative connotations with it. So some people have taken to calling it a breather episode, which I'd say is a little bit more apt. But
yeah, I think I liked it. It was really good and funny. It still fit into the series because a lot of this has just been, this episode is going after this demon, and there was a demon there, but it just happened to be a very benign.
Yeah, it was just kind of a little mischief maker. Somebody on KITSU, I don't remember their name, but they basically pointed out how it was incredibly Fae-like how it was basically just a little mischief creature. Yeah. And that's all it really did. It just wanted to kind of cause some minor trouble and inconvenience. And at first, you didn't kind of register it. Everybody's saying, oh yeah, he's such a terrible blacksmith and stuff, even though... And then everybody keeps saying that. And it's oh, he's actually a really good blacksmith.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty clever way to reveal it over time.
Yeah.
We slowly start realizing how everybody's lying, but everybody's okay with lying.
Yeah.
I think they just accepted that, well, I guess this is how I talk now. They'll know I mean the opposite.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the Talking Head episode of Jojo Part 5. That's what exactly I was thinking of while watching it once it was revealed why. It's oh, I get it. It's like Talking Head, and it's making them say the opposite of what they mean. That's actually hilarious.
And that was pretty much it. It was
it was basically Hyakimaru was about to be forced into a marriage. He didn't want to get want to get married.
The most recent one though was probably one of the best written episodes I've seen so far of the show.
Yeah, aside from episode 6, which that was the one
with the girl.
Yeah, that was the one with Mio.
Yeah.
This was easily, I think, the best episode in the season. Aside from maybe the Mio episode, but that's a matter of opinion. This most recent episode, it was just it capitalized on just how tragic this whole situation really is. Because
it was such a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Because you have the high of...
Hyakimaru and Dororo just kind of walking through the woods, just enjoying, the scenery. And just because... What Dororo and Hyakimaru are, the reason why they're such good kindred spirits is because they're both people who have had, the ability to live normal lives, unfairly taken from them. Dororo lost her parents, Hyakimaru lost his body. And so he's never been able to live a normal life, neither has she. And it was just kind of a nice moment for the two of them to just experience this together.
Yeah, I like the slow build-up of positive feelings for it all to come crashing down where the point where... they fell off the cliff after fighting the chimera.
Totally not a chimera.
It's a chimera.
Yeah, it's known as a Nue, I think, in Japanese, but it's a chimera.
When Dororo got her arm stuck, and just you see Hyakimaru oh, it's fine, I'll just push off the rocks, and then when the arms break, and just Hyakimaru just starts throwing a fit of rage.
He starts butting his head against it, trying to force it to move.
I can only imagine his internal thoughts are if I had real arms, I'd be able to push this boulder off, or I'd be able to do something more than I would with just these little broken stumps.
Yeah, exactly. The thing about that. A thing about that sequence that was also really good is there was no music playing. None whatsoever. It was just Hyakimaru screaming, water rushing, and it just kind of made the situation just feel that much more tense. Dororo is going to die. And just Hyakimaru can do literally nothing to save her.
But lo and behold, mysterious old man shows up.
Yeah, with his mysterious cane sword.
He shows up, I think, too conveniently.
Yeah.
To be just chance.
Yeah. He's got to be... we've seen him, kind of traveling around looking for things of import. So, I imagine he's just following... I think he's just following the senses or whatever that he's feeling around, but we don't really know. And then Saburota was an incredibly tragic character too. Like just seeing him like kind of spiral downwards into just like him realizing that he wanted to be like Hyakimaru, but realized he could never be somebody like Hyakimaru because he was just too much of a coward.
It was just so human, like how he wanted to keep people. Well, his goal wasn't to have people die. Really, his goal was just to see them in fear,
like because kind of justify his own fuck up.
Exactly. Like if other people are afraid, then that means it's okay that he was afraid. And and that's the only way he can truly be at peace with himself. I guess.
Because just the fact that he cut off his own mother's arm to save himself and
he didn't mean to.
Yeah, and he didn't even realize it in that moment. Somebody just pointed out, "What's that on your cloak?" And he looks down and realizes, "Oh shit, that's my mom's hand."
I think the what made that scene hit so hard to me is that I feel like it felt so like something that could have happened.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like if someone was grabbing really hard and you cut off their hand, then the muscles are still going to be just clenched on really tight.
Yeah, exactly.
It just seems so real.
Yeah, and they
didn't play up his mom being like, "Oh, help me! I'm dying! I'm still dying! Why are you running away?"
Yeah, like they basically as soon as he cut the arm off, it just kind of like flash, like probably in that moment he like blacked out because he was like so afraid. And then him finally just giving up and letting the Nue eat him, and then the fight against Hyakimaru, which they didn't show most of it. I'm actually kind of glad they didn't.
I don't know if I'd say I'm glad.
I think,
but it was a really good.
It was a great director's choice.
It was so good. It was so fun to watch. Or not fun, but it was interesting to see Dororo just walk up on the scene of all this carnage.
Yeah, just like, and it feels so in character because Hyakimaru just went absolutely berserk, probably did black out, didn't even like register what was going on, just driving on pure instinct, what makes the most sense. And then the Saburota's last words were, "Oh, I get it now. You're not human either."
No, I love how even in the end he's not willing to accept what he did. He's like, exactly. "Oh, it's fine. Like, of course you're not afraid. You're not a person. Therefore, I can still keep thinking I'm right."
Yeah, exactly. And then now he's out for Daigo's head.
Yeah, because when he killed the demon, he didn't get any body parts back.
So and then just slashing at it repeatedly. Yeah. Just, oh god, this episode was so hard to watch. It really was. It was.
So next time mysterious old man shows up, he's not gonna have a sword. So.
Yeah, or at least he's gonna have like a broken like knife thingy. It's sort of like the Giant's knife in Ocarina of Time.
So next up, talking about Fairygon, or you're talking about Fairygon because I am bored.
Yeah, I can understand, and I can understand perfectly why. Because and maybe it's because I'm not against like procedural crime shows and stuff like that, and that's kind of what this show was shaping up to be. It was like what it was actually really shaping up to be, I think, was a procedural crime show, or rather a political drama with procedural crime elements in it, and sort of some action fight sequences.
Which I'm all about those.
But just the way that it's presented.
And I'm all about crime shows. Like, I like Detective Conan.
Yeah.
It's just I don't care about the characters really. They don't give me enough reason to care about them.
Yeah.
And there's so much info dumping and just talking.
Yeah, I'm not against talking if it's in the case of political intrigue and stuff like that. Like I really am not. Like I guess that's a matter of taste.
But the thing is, there's a word in there.
Yeah.
Intrigue.
Yeah. And you're not intrigued.
It's like I'm very interested in those dialogues if I'm interested in the situation.
Yeah, exactly.
But if I'm not, then there's just blah 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 fight scene, blah 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 really good soundtrack, blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
I love the soundtrack.
Now, the soundtrack is great. I love the intro. Like the intro visuals and the intro song are both quite good, and I think that there's quite a few really cool things like going on, like trying to interrogate a person, figure out like what he knows about like this about this crime, figuring out like how the artificial fairies work and why they're malfunctioning, realizing all that stuff, and trying to figure out in one of the most recent episodes, the realizing that realizing that somebody was trying to set it up to where there was enough manufactured doubt in the new artificial fairies because they had been miraculously malfunctioning because of sabotage, as it turns out. And so they bring out the old ones for a commemorative ceremony. However, somebody possesses the device that can actually easily manipulate those old ones, but most people don't know about that. And I think it's really cool, like, because as an audience, you know about it, and you're just basically trying to see how the characters get to that conclusion. You want them to see it, or at least I do, which is why I was fascinated with it. And just, like, kind of trying to figure out, like, all the different, like, political, like all the different motivations, all the different, like, factions at play. I think all that stuff is fascinating. That being said, they have introduced way too many plot points from the get-go, like, way too many characters, and not enough time for you to really sympathize with them in a meaningful way.
I feel like we were in a car going really fast, and it's driving towards a cliff, and I'm just like, nope, rolling out. But you're just grabbing on the wheel. You're like, I might as well go down with this car.
Like, because I don't know, maybe because of a couple reasons. One, I do actually find that there is some merit to it. Two, it's PA Works, and I admit I'm biased a little bit towards PA Works. And three, I'm biased towards, like, procedural crime and political drama type shows. I'm fascinated by these things, so I kind of want to see, yes, how it plays out. I recognize that it's not the best. I kind of wish that it would be doing it better, but I'm not exactly like completely disappointed with it. Like, I see the potential in it, and I want them to do better. But
well, I'm looking forward to seeing how you feel at the end of the season.
And considering how PA Works has split the course, and because it was originally slated for 24 episodes, which it still is, they're just splitting the course now. Like, it's going to be premiering, I want to say, in fall of this year as opposed to summer.
Maybe I'll catch up at the end.
Maybe, who knows? Anyway, that's all I really have to say about the show. Like, I'm still having a decent time with it. I'm underwhelmed, but not completely, like, it's not completely out of the game for me. So next up, Fruits Basket. AKA, let's keep murdering your emotions while introducing a new quirky cast of characters.
AKA, I'm not crying, you're crying.
I'm not crying. Okay, yeah, just as somebody who's, like, dealt with, like, depression, anxiety, stuff like that, Toru's, like, feelings of not wanting to impose on people, not wanting to upset people, just kind of wanting everyone else to be happy. It's an understandable feeling, and it's understandable why she would go that route. At the same time, it's still frustrating to see.
Yeah, watching that New Year's episode hit. Wait, it was New Year's?
Yeah, it was New Year's.
It just hit so hard because I knew when everyone was leaving, she was like, "Oh, it's fine. You guys all go have fun." I was like, "Nah, that's not how she feels."
It's like, it's not fine. Nothing is fine. In fact, she's probably crying. It turns out, yes, she is.
No, yeah, and her best friend was the one to save the day. One of her best friends.
Yeah, Hanajima.
Wave Girl.
Yeah. Okay, Hanajima is one of the most, like, awesome characters ever. She is so, like, overly dramatic and so just
guilt tripping.
Yeah, it just.
She meets up with him. She's like, "Oh man, sure sucks that she's alone. God dang, she's probably crying right now." But I'm just saying that. I'm not saying it for any reason.
I think the reason why I say, like, I just love how, like, overly dramatic she is because, like, in the episode where they were getting ready to run a race.
Running.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh no, just go on without me, Tor."
I'll eventually just start playing cards.
Yeah,
and the teacher's also playing cards.
And just more and more people just gather around to play cards at the front gate. And I want to point out that Hana is probably the best cheater at cards ever because she pulls out a 5 of a kind, which isn't a thing in poker.
I didn't even think about that.
And one of the cards she has is the Joker. In what rules of poker is the Joker an actual playable card? If I'm pretty sure that's not how that works, but he's like, "Oh yeah, I've got a 5 of a kind."
That's how poker works in Nihon.
I guess I don't know, but yeah, Kyo is still shaping up to be probably my favorite character in this series so far. I really enjoy, I just enjoy like how hot-headed he is, but at the same time, he's basically just a male tsundere. That's what he is, and it's always rewarding to see a male tsundere actually done well. But we got introduced to...
Cow.
Yeah, the cow.
Ox.
Haru, yeah. Haru, and then his alternate persona, Dark Haru.
Yeah.
Or if you listen to
Black.
how they, it's just Black Haru.
I assume they didn't want to be like, he's black, or he's in black mode. That was like that was a thing in the Dragon Ball Super dub.
Oh yeah.
When they had Goku black, there was literally a line in the dub where they're like, "Don't shoot, he's not black." I was like, man, it's like you're just writing the memes for us.
It's like, oh, okay. I didn't even know
like
about
him.
that.
I like Mukao.
Yeah, I like Haru as well.
I like how he kept his haircut when he went into cow form. He still had that white little puff of hair on top.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was fascinating, like, once again, just figuring out more and more about the Soma clan through the introduction of the way, like, just the way that we're kind of organically revealing more about the Soma clan just by proxy of each family member's experiences with them. I think
Soma clan sucks.
Yeah, the Soma clan is horrible.
I mean, at least the upper echelon of the Soma clan.
Yeah.
Because I feel like their grounds are gigantic, so I'm sure there's plenty of good people in there.
Yeah, but the people that are like in like the inner circle of the Soma clan, at least Akito, we don't really know much about Akito, but I don't think I'm not sure if Akito is supposed to be a guy or a girl. I don't think.
A guy.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think they're a good person. Like, and whether there's actually a reason for that remains yet to be seen. But
he probably had lots of bad experiences.
Yeah, probably.
He probably was a good person at first,
and probably his hands are tied, like just because he's the actual head of the family and he has to do as the family would always do.
Mm-hmm. The backstory for the doctor was pretty tragic.
Oh, yeah.
I was just, he has this relationship, and then fucking Akito ruins it all.
Yeah, I don't know if that was from a few weeks ago. Because, or maybe, it might have been before our cutoff. I think we'd already talked about it before a little bit. I think so, but figuring out about Haru's backstory, figuring out that they were just basically, like, looked down upon because they were the ox, and the ox is stupid because how could they be used by the rat like that? And then him basically starting to believe that himself and then starting to resent the rat for his unfortunate lot in life.
It's because when you're a kid, it's like, oh, you're an adult, so you obviously know better. Like, everything adults say when you're a kid is like, oh, that's the gospel truth.
Exactly.
So if you're a kid and you get adults telling you you're stupid, that's just the worst.
Yeah.
Like, he genuinely thinks it. Until the point where
he actually met Yuki.
Yeah.
And then started to... I like how he recognized how screwed up his beliefs were starting to be and how twisted. And how once he actually got to know Yuki, he started to sort of change his perspective and realize that, I can actually change for the better. I can stop the cycle here. Mm-hmm. But
he never really fully got rid of that mean streak.
Yeah, because him wanting to fight Kyo...
Yeah.
And Kyo beating the crap out of him once he actually started taking him seriously. I like his, sort of split personality, how, there's the blood-hungry one, and then there's just the one who's a complete ditz, just who would get lost on his way to the bathroom, for instance. But, yeah, this series continues to be charming, fun, heart-wrenching at times.
Yeah, I was, at the beginning of the series, I was like, oh... Fruits Basket, first season, that's a little pretentious of you, and assuming you're going to do so well, but I'm very excited to see the second season. So.
Yeah, I am too. It has yet to disappoint me so far.
So next up is Senko-san.
The more wholesomeness ensues. Do we need to really say much more about this?
It's winding down to the point where I'm getting worried because... we knew that this wasn't going to be a forever thing of Senko, being there to make his life better.
Yeah.
And I think the series did a good job of lulling us into a sense of pushing that just to the back of our heads, not thinking about it.
Yeah.
But this, most recently, is... I think Senko said something along the lines of, good things can't last forever.
Yeah.
And, it's like,
and then even the like the head fox goddess shows up, and she actually says something to the exact same degree. But I knew this was only going to be a temporary thing.
But it just sucks to think about, because like you never want a good thing to end, even though it should. Like obviously you should never have a good thing, or I mean, you should never have too much of a good thing forever. Otherwise, it's going to make you complacent or whatever. I thought it was pretty cool what the head fox spirit did, because like she's letting it happen. She probably knows that she's gonna have to cut it off soon for Senko, but I think it was kind of cool how she's like, just, here, have some food.
Have a banquet of food.
Yeah. Enjoy our private beach trip, you human.
Yeah, in the middle of, like, that's apparently in the middle of worlds between human world and demigod fox world, because thank you, Shiro. We're going to bring 2 humans, because now Koenji is actually a main member of the cast, which I'm actually kind of cool with.
Yeah, I love her. She's adorable.
Yeah, Koenji's great. I think that she's basically just kind of supposed to be like an audience proxy to a degree, because when you think about like all the shenanigans that happen between Kuroto and Senko, like when you're watching it as the audience, like you know that it's wholesome, that it's innocuous. There's nothing like really inherently sexual there,
and a little tiny bit,
tiny bit. But I think that's only because of like how typically those things are seen as sexual. Like I don't think that
it's mostly just with like the massage scene.
Yeah, which once again I want to say I think it's kind of cool of the show to show that in any other show it would be heavily like sexual. Here they don't really play it up as anything particularly.
They play it up as a joke, kind of. Yeah. When what's the main character's name? Kuroto, when he's just like, and he's making all these noises. Like I'm assuming in the directorial booth, they're just like, all right, we need you to like orgasm it up a little bit.
But yeah, I don't think that they were intentionally trying to play it up as anything really sexual is the thing. But then once Koenji hears about it, it's like, yeah, I stepped on him earlier.
Oh, she freaking Every took that picture out of context.
Yeah, exactly.
Immediately when she was like, I'm gonna step on you.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the funny thing, because anybody who's watching the show knows that there's nothing really inherently sexual about it, but I think when anybody who's taken it out of context, a la Koenji there, she's basically seeing it as nothing but sexual. Like, just what kind of stuff is he into?
A little interesting note, in the most recent episode, when Shiro like suddenly showed up through the wall, she came in through the wall through the neighbor girl's room.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, they were probably hanging out or something beforehand. Because I guess like she's been coming over to play video games with her a lot recently.
Yeah, makes sense.
Which is super adorable.
Yeah. I like how Koenji's actually a main member of the cast. I like that. I like this show, how it's taken stuff that would in any other anime would be played up in the most like sort of ecchi sexual like route possible, but they kind of are toning it down a little bit and trying to paint it as not sexual. I mean, you can't really escape tropes, though, so take that for what
People
it is.
are going to make porn of everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Officer, it's an 800-year-old fox girl.
I swear.
So
next up is Hitoribocchi. I love Kurai. I think she's actually a great character.
Agreed. Yeah. She's very simple.
Yeah, she's simple, but...
So is everyone else in the class. This pretty much falls under one trope.
Yeah, exactly. Kurai... You figured out that she was voiced by Ichigo, right? From Darling in the Franxx?
The same voice actress who voices Ichigo, yeah. And then they have like the same eye color.
And a very similar
hair.
And yeah, that was just a funny little detail that I never picked up on.
And they're both destined to play second fiddle.
Yeah, that's very true. But Kurai, I appreciate like where she's coming from, because she wants to, for whatever reason, become stronger, and so she doesn't have to rely on people. I think that Hitori wants to be stronger so that she can learn to be around people more. I think that it's an interesting balance between independence and codependence. I hope that
they even bring that up too.
Yeah. And I want them to find that eventually, and maybe Kurai will be her friend at the end. I actually liked it. I wasn't expecting it at the end, because in the ending sequence, they've been adding more and more of the girls in, like they would pop in from whatever frame they showed up in. I was not expecting Karai to drop in, actually, at that point.
Yeah,
I saw that, I was like...
the opening, so.
Yeah, and then I saw Karai drop in, I'm like, oh, cool, she's part of the end crawl. That's actually really cute.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if Bocchi's old friend is ever gonna pop up in the ending.
Kai, yeah. I hope so, because I adore these characters, I adore this show. It's just wholesome, cute comedy.
I have one thing that's a very minor complaint, is in the beginning of the series it started off like it was a little more deep.
Yeah, you were expecting to be
was a little more in depth.
I was personally expecting to be more like kind of friend of the week instead of like a kind of monster of the week instead of friend of the week kind of deal. That's what I was expecting. It
was a show with, I think, very it appealed to pretty much like everybody. Like, it was just a good show. Yeah, it's still a good show. I'm not trying to say it's not, but I think it's slowly dissolving into more of a cute girls doing cute things every week kind of show, which I love.
It's definitely a moe. It's definitely a moe blob show, but it's a good moe blob show.
Agreed, yeah. It's just I probably go down like half a point or so for me.
Yeah, I like how they kind of are going more in depth, I'd say, with the characters they currently have, though, like Satoka and her like kind of figuring out like why she's so lonely and stuff like that. And then that really cute moment when she goes into her apartment, she's by herself, and as soon as she gets home, every single one of her friends says, "Welcome back." Mm-hmm. That was a really cute moment, and pretty nice way to cap off that episode. Like, this series continues to just be a delightful little romp.
So next up, Isekai Quartet. I love Megumin on loudspeaker. I feel like this is a perfect role for her.
Yeah, and then of course her fighting over the microphone with, I'm assuming, one of the characters from Tanya.
It was a blonde guy, I think it was.
Yeah, I think so, but yeah, just the two of them kind of duking it out over the loudspeaker. Mm. I like how the series kind of incorporates like inside jokes from the series where they originally come from. Like, in the obligatory beach episode that's coming up, like, everybody's getting ready to go swimsuit shopping, and Kazuma was saying you have to look your best, and Aqua says, it's not like you have much to show off anyway, kind of referring to that one ending episode.
Excalibur!
Yeah, the Holy Sword Excalibur, and her just like...
Yeah, I love how it's canon that all the main females in Konosuba has seen Kazuma's little penis.
and then
what's her face? Succubus, Albedo, yeah. She's just like, yeah, she's a virgin.
Yeah, and then everybody's making fun of her. Like, Kazuma is just kind of laughing, and then Shaltier is laughing, and then Aqua, of all people, steps up to her defense and says, "No, it's totally okay to save yourself for the person that you love, but what's not okay is you stuffing your bra."
That's the only thing that's not okay.
And then Shaltier,
the smugness from Albedo.
Yeah, and then Shaltier getting all embarrassed.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Aqua's probably a virgin as well. That's probably why she chimed in.
Probably. I mean, then again, for her it's to be more expected because she's, a pure goddess. She's not pure in the slightest.
Nothing to be expected around there for her being a pure goddess. That was...
Well, she certainly likes to play it up.
Sure, but that was almost definitely coming from personal defense.
Yeah, I think so. That's actually a really good point. When you look at it...
When has she ever done something for someone else without benefit for herself?
Yeah, you know what? That's incredibly...
I will challenge someone to bring that up. I mean, maybe... Oh, well, kind of when she was bringing Kazuma back. Mm. But you could also argue that it's like, she can't get along alone anyways.
Yeah, and also she kind of needs him to defeat the Demon King, because if he doesn't, then she won't be able to go home. Because that was part of the contract.
I think it was an end credit scene, or after the credits, they showed like a little bit with the
Mohawk guy.
The Mohawk guy, yeah. Who's just mysterious and always around.
Who a lot of people believe is the Demon King.
I would love that.
Yeah, a lot of people think he's just the Demon King and he's just kind of hanging out in the main adventurer's town just because. Like, he's not like there for like any malicious purposes or anything. He's just like, not really. I'm not really doing anything anyway, so why not? That's kind of how it's been kind of accepted by the fans at this point, but I don't know. We have yet to actually see. I just think he's just a cool guy who just likes to show up and just occasionally give like a thumbs up every once in a while. He's I wasn't expecting him to show up. I thought that, okay, the characters that have showed up so far, that's going to be it. There's not going to be any other surprises or anything.
So I think that the Tanya characters are weak in this show. Like, I feel like even if I would have seen the show, they don't really do much for the jokes.
Yeah.
They're just kind of there. Tanya's great.
Oh, yeah, Tanya's fantastic.
Interacting with everybody, but, like, those random soldier guys and the girl that's just there, they're more like accessories, I think, to Tanya.
Yeah.
Whereas all the other characters are
and maybe that's kind of
characters.
what they're supposed to be in their original series, but
the cast of every other character in Isekai Quartet is, like, they're fully fleshed out characters.
Except Kokutsus, because he doesn't do anything either.
Yeah, but that's, like, the joke.
Yeah.
he's the silent, stoic one.
I suppose so, but I don't know. Like, I guess the Tanya characters are kind of, just there. I'm curious to find out what Roswaal is doing. Like, cause I
don't think they're gonna really elaborate on the lore of Isekai Quartet.
I don't think so either, but I'm still, it's one of those things that I'm curious about.
It's probably gonna end in a really fucking stupid way. Like, surprise, we're all going back to our worlds now.
It's probably just gonna be part of the joke.
Yeah.
Amelia being the class president, and then like Ainz basically was it Ainz or Albedo basically intimidating everybody to agree with her, or because
no, it was Amelia just smiling,
yeah,
and then like doing her shiny smile thing, and everyone's like, okay, I guess we'll go along with it.
But yep, we are gonna get our obligatory beach episode, I think, next episode.
Yeah, probably.
So next up, Jojo Golden Winds.
The Green Tea Day saga.
Green Tea and Sanctuary. For those of you who aren't aware, that's actually Green Day and Oasis, but Chocolata's an asshole. Fuck him. He's terrible.
Yeah.
He's like one of the most reprehensible human beings I think this show has shown.
It was really disgusting just seeing his backstory. It made me really uncomfortable in a very good way, I think.
Yeah, he's like, this person is just the worst.
Just like leaning down and whispering into an old person's ear every day, like, nobody loves you, no one's gonna come see you, you might as well die.
Basically driving them to kill themselves. Yeah. That shit was all really fucked up. And then Seko, his kind of pet, I guess you could.
That's probably a good word for it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more or less what he is. He's just a pet.
He's probably someone that he mentally traumatized into just thinking that he's the greatest person ever.
Yeah, probably. Like, we don't really know that much about their relationship. We just know that Seko is one of his patients, or was one of his former patients, and
now he's his film man.
Yeah, the person who's always like documenting everything and will occasionally feed him sugar cubes.
I love that. Just flicking him around. And he's like, yeah, it's so adorable. And he like pets him. I love seeing them on screen every time. As
reprehensible of human beings as they are, they
had that good JoJo humor.
Exactly. Seeing like the fight play out between Chocolata and Giorno, and the whole Chocolata actually like sawed himself into like multiple pieces.
Oh god, that was so gross how his spine was wiggling around like a tail.
Yeah, and then how he basically like fused off, or kind of burned away, or kind of just made it so that I won't bleed to death as a result of this. He
used the
cauterize, that's the word I'm looking for. He used his mold.
Yeah, well, he didn't cauterize it. He just like closed off the veins, which it wouldn't have worked, but whatever, who cares?
You know what? Fine. Stans do Wimbly Wombly.
Yeah, exactly.
Standy Wandy stuff. But yeah, just like seeing all that. But then, of course, what was the most rewarding thing was the Super Muda, which went on for, it's referred to as the 7-page Muda for manga readers, because it went on for 7 pages.
Yeah, there was someone on KITSU. I gotta look it up real quick because it was such a good infographic.
Oh yeah, it was like somebody had basically like calculated how much time had like passed, and it was like 9 months or something close to that, where it had been 9 months of him feeling in like constant pain, because just in like the span of time that it actually...
I don't think it was quite that long.
It was a long time. It was a long time, and it was just the fact that he just felt pain for such an extended period of time.
Okay, here it is. So It was Master Kunman on KITSU. Yeah, he says, "Did you know that if you average out both times Bruno was hit by gold experience, his senses went berserk for 1 minute and 8 seconds. During the 7-page Muda, Chocolata was punched approximately 478 times, meaning that he felt intense pain for around 9 hours, 1 minute, and 44 seconds.
9 hours. Okay, that's yeah. Which
I didn't even think about that because they never brought up that ability for golden experience since like the second episode or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And wow, just the fact that much time probably passed, that would have to be absolutely excruciating.
Mm-hmm.
And then what was even more awesome was the fight between Seko and Bruno. Speaking of Bruno, like kind of the fact that Bruno is just using his fucked up, like, I'm still alive somehow body, like, to his advantage. Like, I won't die from the mole. I'll take as much damage as humanly possible because it won't kill me. I'm already dead.
I was really surprised by the extent of Seko's power. Because it just seemed like he could melt a little bit of the ground in a small localized area.
Yeah.
But later on he ended up like melting the entire street.
Yeah.
And causing everything to sink in. Yeah, he's surprisingly strong. And then his freak out moment when he realizes that Chocolata
is dead
was...
Which I actually... I don't know how to take that. Like, I was thinking, like, it was kind of like a moment of, holy shit, I'm free sort of deal.
I think it was remorse.
Yeah.
In a very fucked up way, because he was like, it's not like I ever thought you were strong or cool or anything.
Yeah, that's probably the more likely. That's probably the more likely one. I still was toying with the idea that it's like
it might be a mix of both.
Yeah, sort of like a Jesse Pinkman at the end of Breaking Bad sort of deal. I don't know, but that whole fight and then how Bucciarati basically just punched a tire and made it explode underground and basically made him go deaf. Seko go completely deaf. That was really hard to watch, actually. Just like how he was just incoherent rambling. Like, and then even Bucciarati says, "Shut up. This conversation isn't even coherent anymore."
Yeah, and then he goes into the same trash as before. Well, which I guess that points to the fact that he was sad about it, because when he finally sees him, he's like, "Oh, Chocolata, you were here."
Yeah, but they're both going to the incinerator. It looks.
Or I'm assuming they're probably just going to get crushed.
Well,
by the trash
compactor.
Yeah, inside the trash.
Well, but
truck.
That's where it's leading toward. It's leading towards the towards burnable garbage. So
okay.
That's what it said on the That's what it said on the trash car.
And like pretty much most of the time in JoJo, when you see a villain go off screen after they're beaten, they're usually just gone forever.
Yeah, they're usually gone. But somebody who's back, and I wasn't entirely expecting, Polnareff,
the French boy himself.
Which some people are not happy about, because a lot of people say that he's their least favorite character from Stardust Crusaders.
I loved Polnareff in Stardust Crusaders. He was so sassy and an asshole. And I loved his interactions with Iggy.
Yeah. I didn't have any major problems with Polnareff, and I'm actually like, oh, that's actually kind of cool that they brought Polnareff back. It's like, who else are they going to bring back? Mm-hmm. It's like the other Stardust Crusaders are dead. I mean, or there's Jotaro, but he's off doing God knows what right now. And then there's Joseph, who's old and decrepit at this point. So who else are they going to bring back? Unless Araki decides, hey, I'm going to bring back Kakyoin from the dead, because reasons.
But Polnareff's now got 2 metal legs, a fake eye. I don't know about his arms.
I'm not sure. Like, he seemed to be able to be wheeling around in the wheelchair with his arms totally fine. But
this is something that we don't know why this happened.
Yeah, we don't know either.
He came away from the final fight in Stardust Crusaders, like, relatively fine, right?
So, something has happened in between, like, I want to say it was 12 years in between Stardust Crusaders and now. Mm-hmm. I think it's been about 12 years. But yeah, point being... something bad happened to Polnareff. We don't know entirely.
He's got the arrow.
Yeah, he's got the arrow. The other big thing is that Bucciarati looks like he's finally going to get killed by the boss.
Yeah, his face is all melty. His body's all busted up. I don't see how he's gonna come back from this, because, like, I don't see how he can move around normally after this.
And, yeah, the boss is right behind him, or rather, Doppio is right behind him, but I thought it was interesting, like, how, like, when you saw, like, Doppio's face in the crowd, I was like, oh shit, this isn't gonna end well in the slightest, because then Seko tries to take him hostage, but then Bucciarati pulls a thing where it's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna, like, zip through the kid's chest, punch you, and make sure the kid isn't hurt at all. And even Doppio acknowledges, I didn't, even based on the prediction that I didn't even need to see the prediction I saw to know that that's what was gonna happen.
Yeah, because he knows who Bucciarati is, and
exactly.
that he wouldn't just hurt an innocent person.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that we're gonna finally find out what the boss's official name is next episode, judging from the title card from next one.
This is the last core of this.
I think this is the last core. Yes.
Yeah. So.
I think it might carry over a little bit into summer, but more.
It'll carry over a little bit, like 5 or 6 episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
Next up is Joshi Kausei. It's not a lot to talk about. It's funny.
I think what I've kind of realized about the show as I've continued watching it is it's sort of just like a series of, like, kind of isolated moments of childhood. That's pretty much what it is, because we had a few, like, little things that people did when they were just probably young children, but it's high school girls doing it,
like the drawing on the window.
Yeah, like drawing on a foggy window, or making shadow puppets, or anything like that. It just feels like a lot of things that are just from, like, a simpler time when you were children. Like, because who didn't draw on, like, a foggy window when they were a young child?
Yeah. So progress report. I think we said this in our mid-season review. If you're not watching it and you like cute, funny stuff,
yeah, just 3 minutes. It's 3 minutes of your time. So it. Exactly. Next up, Kono Oto Tomare. I actually am glad that Kurata is becoming a character.
Yeah, and the more I'm watching it, the more I'm thinking that him being a really boring side character was intentional in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because he has, like, no confidence in the beginning, and
he's just trying not to stand out.
The audience, pretty much, at least me, I cared about him as much as he cared about himself, pretty much. But as it seems like as the show goes on, the more he starts caring about himself, the more I'm caring about him as a character.
Absolutely. That totally makes sense to me. Like,
and if that was the intention, it was a genius move throwing in Kudo so early, because Kudo was immediately interesting.
Yeah, Kudo and Hozuki both were immediately
and it just gave me something to actually care about and be interested in every week.
And seeing, like, Kurata kind of gradually, like, come out of his shell and, like, actually admit, this is what I want, this is, like, the person that I am. Like, seeing, like, seeing this character who has been basically kind of beaten down probably a good portion of his life by, like, people. It's like, oh, you're playing the koto? Oh, that's cute. Mm-hmm. It's like, why is a guy playing the koto? It's not like I didn't have to deal with anything like that personally. Fuck you, high school band!
He's played the flute, right?
Yeah, I played the flute.
There's nothing wrong in playing the very girly instrument that is the flute.
Shut the fuck up. But yeah, the thing about that, and just like seeing his brother basically give him trouble. Like, when I first saw it, I thought, yeah, his brother was an asshole and his dad just didn't help because his dad didn't say or do anything in that moment. But then when he finally told his brother off, I thought it was a really rewarding experience when his dad basically said, well, you're the president of the club. Why didn't you tell us? He basically kind of revealing that he'd been wanting him to just kind of look out for himself a little bit and learn to stand up for himself.
I was surprised because I thought it was going to be a situation of just, like, shitty parents.
Yeah, his dad. I thought his dad was just going to be like somebody who was just absent, didn't care, maybe just kind of ignored his son. And his brother was just openly an a-hole. But then, yeah, Kurata's dad actually saying, I'm actually really happy for you. I'm really proud of you.
It was kind of funny when he finally told off his brother, and his mom's just kind of like, heh.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like, didn't even, like, tell him to, like, don't stop or don't fight.
Yeah, don't fight, boys. No, she just kind of laughed and even said, yeah, she was happy that he finally did that. It was a rewarding moment.
So, Hiro, I think her name is...
yeah, Hiro.
Yeah. She sucks. I want to say sucked, but she still kind of sucks, because, like, you can't... ignore all the things she did. Like, obviously, she's on the road to being a good a good person again.
I think she's legitimately taking steps to redeem herself, and I think that'll take time, sure, but I think she's. You can't completely disregard the shitty things she did before, but she's making a legitimate effort to try and be a better person, which I respect.
Yeah, I really like Kurata's viewpoint of, like, just because someone does something shitty to you doesn't mean you should be shitty back to them. Like, just think about what has happened in their life to lead them up to this point where they have to feel like they need to do that to you.
Exactly, and
that's such an admirable viewpoint in life that's not really always the easiest to look at that way.
Absolutely. It's much easier to just kind of retaliate. It is very much easier just to retaliate. The girls from I wanted to say Lobelia Academy, but they're not Lobelia Academy.
Lobelia!
Yeah, because that's what they remind me of. It just reminded me.
Oran, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't. Himezuka Academy is what, is that the name of the girl?
It's a girls' academy.
Yeah. Fuck those characters.
Well, is it a girls' academy?
Yeah, that was an all-girls academy. Mario was an academy that... It was a joint practice section, and Mario was one of them. And Mario was a school that Kurata wanted to go into, but failed. The girls' academy, I'm so glad that Kudo told them off for those stupid prissy bitches they were.
Kudo being Kudo.
Just, like... Yeah, you think we don't know that we're not good enough for her? That's why we're trying to be better. Like, we don't pretend that we're something that we're not.
You get so many of those good blushes with Hozuki.
Yeah, Hozuki.
Tsundere blush.
Yeah, I'm enjoying Kudo and Hozuki's sort of relationship. I'm pretty sure they're doing a ship tease at this point.
Earlier in the series, I kind of made a jab at the art style is kind of boring. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like basic. But I think it's really growing on me because it feels very much like a manga.
Yeah.
Especially a lot of the times when they do, like, the smile. This showed us fantastic, just, like, smile frames.
Yeah.
Where they'll pause on somebody and they have, like, this really genuine smile.
Yeah, it's so pretty. Like, they put so much detail. They put so much detail into making it look as pretty as possible.
I think this... I might have to go back and check it again, but it definitely feels like this art style is kind of growing into its own. Or the art team's learning how to more make it look like the manga, maybe, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? I'm really enjoying the series. I'm enjoying the character drama. I'm actually kind of surprised that the advisor, like, he seems like just kind of sort of a don't bother me kind of asshole, but he actually seems like in a really fucked up way, he's actually trying to push them to, like, realizing, this isn't some game. This isn't some fairy tale. If you want to go to nationals, you're gonna need to work really, really hard.
Yeah, he seems like a lot less of a prick than I thought he was in the beginning.
Yeah, I thought he was just kind of a prick, but no, I think he just wants them to realize that, yeah, look at the content.
Look at reality.
Yeah, look at the people you're gonna be going up against. They are ridiculously talented, and it's going to take a lot of work on your guys' part to even come close. Mm-hmm. And I think it capped off a really cool moment in the most recent episode when everybody just said, let's make first place at nationals on that new sign they wrote together and then signed their names on it. It was sort of like a out with the old, in with the new sort of situation. And Kurata finally saying, we may not make it to nationals. In fact, there's a good chance we won't, but there's no group of people I don't want to try it with more than who's right here. Mm-hmm. I thought that was a really cool moment. I'm looking forward to seeing how the series concludes.
So next up is One Punch Man.
Once again, a series that you dropped.
Please tell me how One Punch Man has been.
One Punch Man, I will say, getting some of the more obvious complaints out of the way. It's like some of the comedic timing has fallen kind of flat in some places. Some of the action sequences have left a little bit to be desired. Like that's all been repeated ad nauseum at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but every week people are just like, it's not as good as the first season.
So
I understand how that can definitely be annoying for people who are still just trying to watch it, and engage with people about the episodes.
So here's my stance on the most recent episode. The most recent episode ouch, it was actually hard to watch. Not because it was like poorly animated or anything. I actually thought they kind of stepped up their game a little bit on the more recent fight scene. Is it as good as the first season? No. Is it as good as it probably could be? Probably not. But it actually looked good, and I think more the emotional stakes is what they wanted to play up in this, and they did it really well, because you saw Suryu, right?
Who?
Suryu. He was one of the guys at the martial arts tournament, kind of long.
No, I didn't even start the martial arts tournament yet.
Okay, so basically, Suryu is a character who.
You don't need to explain it to me. You just explain how you felt about the episode.
Okay.
Talk to the audience. They care.
So I liked his kind of a social Darwinistic kind of approach he had, like how only the strong will really survive, stuff like that, and how that immediately was flipped on its head in the most recent episode, because he went up against 2 dragon class monsters who'd shown up, and they beat the ever-loving piss out of him. And he immediately said, I don't care about being the strongest anymore. I just want to live. And how desperation and stuff will just lead a person's mindset to change completely. It was really hard to watch. And him desperately crying out, when he realized that he's gonna die here, he cried out, anybody out there, please help me. Just absolutely desperate. And of course, Saitama, no, the one punch hasn't happened as far as I've seen, but Saitama shows up. And the funny thing about that is, in their fight against Chiranko, in heavy air quotes, Saitama beat Suryu. It actually was a pretty funny episode. The comedic timing felt a little bit more on point and more like One Punch Man. But what happened then is that Suryu was just thinking to himself, I never want to see that person again. I'm probably never going to have to see that person again. Ironically, that's going to be the person who saves his life. So it makes me wonder if it's sort of going to be like a rivalry situation, between him and Sonic, or if it's going to be like a discipleship situation between him and Genos. I don't know, but one thing I will say that One Punch Man has always delivered on is, strangely enough, it's character drama. Character drama has usually been pretty on point. And for a show that has such an outlandish, ridiculous concept, it does character drama incredibly well. So I wasn't expecting there also to be a society of monsters, to rival the Hero Association. That is a plot point this series, this season.
Yes, it's not that surprising. It's
kind of hilarious. And then Garo gets ready to fight Watchdog Man, which apparently that's supposed to be a hilarious fight. I'm actually enjoying myself watching One Punch Man. I think that it could be better, but at the same time, I'm not disappointed with it. I'm having a fun time watching it, so take that for what you will. So next up, Rising of the Shield Hero.
So I think first of all, we got to get out of the way the ending of the most recent episode. We did it. We're the heroes. It's a happy ending.
Okay. That was the schmaltziest fucking ending I think I'd seen to an episode that had such build-up, such dramatic tension, such stakes, and it ended in the most anticlimactic, schmaltzy way humanly fucking possible.
Yeah.
I did not like it. I loved the first half of the episode. I absolutely adored it. I thought that them building it up was really good. Seeing just how uncomfortable it got at times, seeing Mine getting tortured every time she lied.
Yeah.
That was really hard to watch.
It was so hard to watch because she kept on lying even though she knew it wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
She was just deny.
And it was satisfying, but it didn't feel like it should be. She was kind of getting her comeuppance, but it's just oh god, this is actually really tough to watch. I don't know if I should feel happy about this.
That was a really interesting inner turmoil that Naofumi was dealing with this whole time of I loved the nightmares where he was just thinking, or not really nightmares, clairvoyance.
Yeah.
I think it was. Of just him seeing, her dying or whatever, and him thinking to himself, well, should I feel good about this? Obviously she deserves it, but he's thinking like, does that make him any better? I think.
Yeah, and it was an interesting inner turmoil, inner conflict. I didn't like at all how it was really resolved. Like when the queen was finally getting ready to lay down the guillotine, he stopped it like right in the middle, and then kind of just said, "Hey, let's just give them some juvenile nicknames that they'll be living by for the rest of their lives. It just felt to me, it felt like there should have been more to it. It just felt like, oh, they are just going to basically no longer be considered royalty and have kind of juvenile names. But kind of one of my favorite examples of like sort of like where if they're gonna be alive, then the punishment for being alive should be even more brutal than just being dead. Like, I refer people to Dishonored for anybody who's played those games, where more often than not, the non-lethal punishments were way more just ouch than...
Yeah, because like how Nafumi says, like, dying is the easy way. Like, they should be meant to do more stuff, and I'm assuming they're probably not going to have their royal positions anymore.
Yeah.
I don't even think they would want it at that point, because, what was, like, King Shithead?
King Trash and...
Trash.
Yeah. Trash and Bitch, and her adventure name is going to be Slut.
Yeah, it's like, do you really want to be that way?
It just feel, for me, I mean, once again, just the nicknames feel really just like...
Not enough of a punishment?
Yeah, they feel just kind of childish and petty, more than, like, actually legitimately punishing. Like,
I really liked how Nafumi handled that situation. Punishments aside, I thought it was very in character how he comes down and, starts mocking him, and she kind of shows up in true Nafumi asshole fashion.
Yeah.
Of like, surely these guys have to be, put through some other stupid thing, and then he kind of calms down the mob in a really interesting way. Of he pretty much got the mob on his side. So instead of them being upset about the execution not happening, he was like, everyone's like, ah, and started laughing. I thought that was pretty clever.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, and I can kind of see, I agree with that. Like, I think that was handled pretty well. I still think the punishment, and especially how they handled the queen, I just didn't particularly like it, like, at all. Because the queen is just like, she basically is just like, oh no, I'm going to collapse to my knees. I'm going to collapse to my knees now after all that charade is over, pretty much. It just, like, it just felt to me like, why go through such of a charade if you're not going to follow through with it on any meaningful account? That's the way that I personally viewed this whole situation.
That's the problem the show's had.
Yeah.
Throughout their series so far, of not having really consequences for anything.
Yeah.
There has been consequences for the actions of the other heroes.
Yeah.
But Nafumi dealt with them, and then who cares? Nothing really happened after that.
Yeah.
Like the curse. It doesn't really do anything.
Okay.
Like, Philia?
Fitoria.
She keeps saying that, it's this bad thing that's terrible, and you should never use it because bad things will happen. But both times the curse have happened, like when it's affected other people, they just got rid of it. Yeah.
The thing that I've said, like, when the Raid Shield was first introduced, was it should be kind of more like the symbiote, or specifically the Venom symbiote in the Spider-Man comics. Like, how it kind of gradually changes his mindset, kind of makes him start thinking more brutally, start acting more violently, start doing things that are just kind of colder and more cruel. But, and even if, like, that sort of thinking had kind of pervaded his consciousness a little bit more while he was kind of struggling over it, like him actually thinking how actually satisfying it might be to watch their heads roll or something like that. Even just even things like that might be kind of satisfying, but it just ended with, everyone's happy in the end, pretty much. Like, Malty's happy, the queen's happy, the king and mine are alive and are probably going to do more shitty things in the future.
Probably.
Like, let's be real.
How could you give us that name?
Yeah, it just feels incredibly unsatisfying. And it felt, for a moment that should have been probably the most satisfying thing in this entire series, it is one of the least satisfying. To me, anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think a better part of this recent arc was when Naofumi was telling off all the other heroes.
Oh, that was so good.
That was really satisfying to
Like,
see. Just
yeah.
telling them how stupid they've been through this whole situation.
I liked how he kind of realized as well, like how he didn't really do much to actually defend himself or anything like that either. I think that he also kind of realized that he just kind of went with the flow. And I think that he kind of liked him just kind of saying, look, I don't like you guys. I'm willing to work with you though. For like just
Until
kind of
the waves are done.
Yeah, at least kind of putting aside their differences and just being willing to just say, you know what? Let's work through this together because like it's the only way we're actually going to get through this.
And it's a good thing he did so because it boiled down to pretty much all the other three heroes being like, no, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. No, it's your fault.
It's all your fault. Each other. It's like, kids, you're all equally terrible.
Yeah.
And then there was the blood sacrifice curse.
That looked so cool.
That was.
Also, the raid shield in this situation, I think, was a lot more interesting than it was the first time. Because not only do we know the characters a lot more, so we care about like their impacts on Naofumi, but the visualization of it was a lot better, just him being in that
kind of like
headspace with all the screens around him.
Yeah, that sort of dark room, and then the dragon's voice talking to him.
I like the dragon's personality of it's saying all these things to kind of bump up his ego and make him feel like, oh, you're so strong, you're it's angry.
Yes, give in to that power. Yeah. Yes.
And just
it's very Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah. Use your anger.
Yeah, exactly.
But the animation of when you see him charging up this huge big attack and just blood shoots out everywhere. That was and then the music just cuts out. That was just such a good like.
It was like such a jarring moment.
Yeah, just, shit, that's a lot of blood.
It's like, oh, that's bad. So yeah, that whole situation, and I know I said it already, but like figuring out, the church was the ultimate evil all along. It's
surprise.
And now the four heroes church is going to exist, where everybody worships the heroes equally. Or, you know what? Don't worship the heroes, because hero worship's a bad thing, but...
Respect them, but don't worship them.
Just, whatever. I think that this series has kind of had, like, sort of... I wouldn't necessarily say, like, peaks and valleys. It's been kind of more, like, hills and dips. Like, I think the show is good, but I don't think it's ever been, like, great or amazing, and it's never had, like, an episode that has made me absolutely despise it. So, I mean, with the ending of the most recent episode aside, because I think that the way that was just like, really, we're just gonna go this schmaltzy of a route.
It's still good.
It's still good. Exactly. It's good. I don't think it's anything great, and it's not amazing. It's not a masterpiece. It's just a good series, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it ends.
So next up is Sarazanmai.
It was nice to see an episode where they didn't have the fucking dances.
Yeah.
Like, I was actually, because after the episode where everything went wrong, like Haruka figured out that Kazuki was cross-dressing as Sarah the whole time, all that shit, and they're basically just trapped as Kappa now. Basically, them the whole time basically just trying to figure out how to save Haruka while still being pathetic, shitty little Kappa creatures. Like, no zombies or anything to fight.
Well, there was a lot of uncomfortable denial.
Yeah.
That Kazuki was going through. And like, being a Kappa's great. I never have to go and deal with all that shit I just did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was super uncomfortable to watch. And seeing, like, how they all ended up working together, and actually seeing, like you can save your brother's life. You just basically have to give up your Shurikodama forever and basically no longer be connected to anything. As far as I can tell, that just basically means you won't exist ever. Or actually, no, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, because every time they removed the Shurikodama, they just got wiped from existence.
Yeah, it's basically just you are now a person who just never existed in anybody's minds ever. They'll be able to walk, like Haruka will be able to walk, he'll be able to live a normal life. You'll just have never been a part of it, ever. Mm-hmm. You'll have never been a part of anyone's life. And the fact that Kazuki was about to go through with it, was super uncomfortable. And it kind of made me think that there's something more to Kepi than has been let on. I think
Make a contract with me and become a magical Kappa.
Thank you. I'm not the only one who sees that, right? It's I legitimately think that
he doesn't care about anything at the end of the day, as long as he's getting the Shirokodama.
Exactly.
Well, and we kind of got a little bit more into that with like the whole Otter Kappa war.
Yeah, and the fact that there's a quote unquote dark Kepi, which that'd be an awfully convenient excuse of it's like, oh no, Kepi's just evil, but there's a dark. It's like, oh, there's a dark Kepi, actually. That wasn't me. That was my evil twin kind of situation. And
he has a goatee.
And considering Sarah is just kind of seems like a ditzy little minion girl who's just kind of going along with whatever Kepi's saying, it makes some degree of sense. I don't think she's human, and I think she was intentionally created to be the way she is. I noticed something interesting. Anytime she does one of her announcements and like the special object that shows up, that always is the object that gets taken away by the Kappa zombies. So yeah. So
balls.
Yeah, well, exactly. One of the more recent bits, like figuring out that it was that Kuji actually like met Kazuki when he was very young, and he was the reason why Kuji wanted to play football so much.
God, Kuji's brother sucks.
Kuji's brother, yeah, he is.
There's that small hint of I want to protect my brother, but God, most of it's just like I'm just gonna use him. I'm gonna drag him through all these shitty situations.
I'm gonna basically get him to do he is doing all this stuff for my sake. I never asked him to do any of this stuff, but I'm not going to stop him.
Exactly. He should have just been like, no, don't follow me. I need to go deal with the situation on my own.
Yeah, exactly.
And just letting him give up all the stuff that makes him happy.
Yeah, it's sort of, it is kind of an interesting dynamic or parallel between Kuji's obsession with his older brother and then Enta's obsession with Kazuki. Because I think that Enta does have a bit of an unhealthy obsession with Kazuki. I think I made that clear in a few, a few episodes ago.
Especially recently, with the whole stealing the dishes thing.
Oh, God.
Just because he's jealous.
Yeah, that was bad. I didn't like that at all. And then, to be fair, I didn't like how Kazuki handled it either. I think that Kazuki saying, oh, I'm not going to talk to him. Just basically, I'm going to completely ignore him, not going to give him any chance to explain. Nothing of that nature whatsoever. I think that was kind of immature of him to how to go about it. Plus, he never gave Enta an opportunity to actually say how he felt about him, and so he could properly let him down. You know?
Yeah, it's a lot of kids being kids.
Exactly.
It's hard to process all those emotions when you're not really sure what to do with them.
Exactly. No, I agree. And I think that's what the show has been doing so well with their character drama and sort of
youth drama, pretty much.
Exactly. But then we're starting to figure out more about the Otter Empire and how scary. I never actually thought I would be using the term Otter Empire and scary.
Yeah, I forget. I don't know. I remember the cops'
Reo
names.
and Mabu.
Reo seems like he's going through like a genuinely shitty situation.
Because
his partner has been kind of rebuilt.
Yeah, recreated, and the only thing that is keeping him alive is basically Reo having to do these shitty things.
Yeah, so he's kind of just trapped.
Yeah, he's kind of trapped, and then Mabu is kind of just trapped in the situation as well because he's a machine that has been built specifically for this purpose. And so basically, I think that Kepi or Dark Kepi or whoever is behind this, I think that once the 5 dishes are collected, that's actually what's going to summon the monster otter thing from the intro, the thing that basically destroyed the Kappa Kingdom.
Yeah.
Because I've noticed anytime there's a situation where there's a seemingly cute mascot character or something convincing people to collect a bunch of different things or do a incredibly specific task, it's almost always a setup. It just seems to more often than not in some of the games, movies, TV shows I've seen, it's a setup usually.
Probably.
So I imagine that the 5, them trying to collect the 5 dishes is also a setup, and the first dish they got was basically just to say, yeah, these dishes can literally do anything. So you're gonna want to get them kids.
Mm-hmm.
It basically, like, Kepi is that guy in like a rickety old van with a free candy that says, "Hey kids, you want this?"
You all want some cucumbers?
Exactly.
I still have to pretty much fast forward through every repeat scene because I just like, I don't care. I don't want to watch this again.
Yeah.
I'm so torn because on one hand it's a really good character drama with some funny bits. On the other hand, there's so much recycled frames.
Like, part of me is curious if there actually is stuff that you'd actually have to like kind of really pay attention, like if that and notice kind of like subtle changes and stuff each time. But I don't know.
That'd be a bad idea.
Yeah,
I think
maybe
because it's like the endless eight.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, look, we made slight differences. Don't you want to watch to see? No, I don't. I don't want to watch the same episode 8 times in a row. I have much better things to do with my life.
Oh, yeah. And then at the end of the most recent episode, Enta's fucking dead, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, I never thought about that because, like, whenever they shot somebody with the Desire gun, they turned into the Kappa zombies, or not Kappa zombies. Yeah, the Kappa zombies. So, like, I thought they just kind of. It was like Persona shooting them in the head. It didn't really. There wasn't actually a bullet. There was actually like a hole in Enta's head.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, maybe it is an actual gun.
And then there's also the guy they shot in the street that was going to be an issue. So apparently, yeah, it is an actual gun. And then they also have mind control badges that are just making them say,
"You just flick on him."
Yeah, just boop. I've got skills. So yeah, Enta's probably dead, and if the end credit sequence is anything to be believed, maybe he's just going to be dead for the rest of the series.
Or is it Kappa zombie?
Yeah, like, because it looks like because at the end sequence there's only 2 shadows, not 3, so...
Yeah, I remember someone pointed that out. It's really, really clever. Didn't notice that.
Yeah, it is very clever. Next up, Senryu Girl.
This show, it's so, like, tropey, but I'm not upset about it.
One, because of how short it is. And,
yeah, it's true, yeah.
Like, and I think that they're able to kind of, you're able to kind of forgive it because they give you, like, kind of just the ideas and general tropes without all the ridiculous padding and just say, there's not as much pretense to it. It knows what it is, and it has no problem showing it.
For example, we always have Nanako and Eiji just, they happen to meet up. Like, that's happening multiple times throughout the series, but it's like every time it's just like, it's fine.
Yeah, just like, whatever.
Mostly because I just love seeing them interact with each other.
Yeah,
and Nanako's super adorable.
Yeah, no, I think it's because of, like, the characters and just the way it's written. Like, the characters' interactions and just makes you forgive kind of the sort of tropes that the show resorts to, pretty much. I think that's kind of the main thing, is just seeing the characters interact and seeing how fucking adorable they are. Like, every other character in the show is a really cute girl.
Yeah, and then there's Nanako's dad.
Nanako's dad, who is probably the best character in the show.
The biggest drama queen.
He is. I love every second he's on screen, though, because it's just so goddamned funny.
He's like, such a dad.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want my daughter to date anyone.
Yeah, and then, like, the infamous kind of the dreaded, you have to meet your girlfriend's dad scene. Like, just, like, he's all, like, looking like a fucking Yakuza boss. It's like, so, what kind of relationship do you have with my daughter? And then not realizing, like, how that could be taken. And then him freaking out, getting ready to jump over the table, and Nanako's mom and Nanako having to hold him back.
Yeah, it's just such a wholesome, fun, adorable show. Continues to be. And
then, and it even had the obligatory swimsuit episode, and it didn't really go, like, too overboard with it. Like, they kind of hinted at it. Like, it's like, look at this, like, piece of string, pretty much, that you could be wearing. But no.
I like Nanako's reaction of like, you can look a little bit. Like, you don't have to look completely away. It's just so honest.
Yeah, it was super cute. And of course they had to set it up. It's like, he had other plans. I was like, watch as he shows up at the pool in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There he is.
Yeah.
Like,
I wonder what his other plans are.
Yeah, so like, is he gonna be swimming at the pool?
Maybe he's going on vacation and nothing's gonna happen. This is gonna be a boring episode.
No kidding, right?
So last up is Yatogame-chan Observation Diary.
Yeah, this is just another kind of cute, innocent, like 3 minutes of your time.
It has so many like croppable pictures.
Yeah, no
In
kidding.
this series, just different Yatogame-chan reactions.
Yeah, exactly.
For being angry and blah blah blah.
She's
blah,
basically a
blah.
cat. That's
Yeah.
what, I mean, they even acknowledge that, like in like the description of the show, with her cat-like appearance and just the way she acts.
Mm-hmm.
She's basically a human cat girl.
It's still funny. It's still adorable. Same place as Joshi Kausei, really.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of think that it's. I think that it has like a. I think in the most recent bit, though, it was like kind of interesting seeing an episode where it actually continued the events of the previous episode, though. Like, I wasn't expecting a two-parter in a show like this.
Me neither.
Because it's like, oh, okay, this is actually a two-part series, or a two-part episode bit. Huh, that's interesting. And then, of course, Gene realizing what an idiot he is when he realizes, oh, right, I bought a camera that didn't have a lens. How the fuck do you do that? Like, what camera doesn't have a lens when you buy it?
He seems kind of like a space cadet anyways.
Maybe. He's definitely just kind of sort of author or audience insert bait. But I always enjoy seeing, like, the different things about the Nagoya Prefecture.
Yeah, all the real stuff.
Yeah.
I'll admit it's got me genuinely interested.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, how... and I like the little bit of exchange between the two of them where she's talking about... crap, I don't remember the name of the little market place, but Gene basically compared it to Akiba, and that's basically what it was. It was just the Nagoya version of Akiba, and she's just
so
like, no, it's not!
defensive,
Yeah. This is nothing like Akiba. It's exactly like Akiba.
I'm curious to see, like, just tourism numbers.
Yeah.
Like, after they really... Because that was the point of the show.
Yeah,
they made the show to get more people interested in bringing up a little bit of tourism.
Yeah, the same way that Sweetness and Lightning was trying to convince people to have children, or the...
And Laid Back Camp is convincing people to go camping.
Yeah, to go outside and get a life and not watch anime. But this show it's harmless, good, adorable fun. That's what it is at the end of the day.
So yeah, that's all we're talking about for this week of all the stuff that's been going on. We're winding down to the end of the season, and eventually we're gonna put out our review of the entire season and the endings of everything that has an ending, anyways.
Yeah, some of the things that will be kind of continuing on into the next cour or even the next season, really. Mm-hmm. That's gonna be
also a preview soon.
Oh yes, we will be doing a preview. There is at least one show that I'm incredibly excited for, and that's all. The trailer has already been dropped for.
Dr. Stone?
Yeah, Dr. Stone.
Dr. Stone and Fire Force are the main two.
Oh yes, Dr. Stone and Fire Force. I'm looking forward to both of those. We'll be looking more into what seems the most interesting, and we'll be breaking those down here in our summer 2019 season preview.
Yeah, so look forward to that. Look forward to our normal schedule coming back, for the most part, just less shows every week to talk about.
So until then, take care of yourselves, everybody. Anchor away.
Bye.